Hi, this is Tom English again, and we're still on factoring. But what I wanted to do is take a problem that cannot be factored and requires the use of the quadratic formula. And hopefully, just a quick review. You remember our standard formula for the quadratic equation: ax squared plus bx plus c, where a is the coefficient of the x squared term, b is the coefficient of the x term, and c is the constant on the end. And in our quadratic equation videos, we talked about the importance of each of those and how they affect the parabola and so forth. But now what I want to do is use this to determine the x values. Before we were doing factoring, let's see if we can factor this one in our options if we can't. I see this as 1 and 3 as the only choices we have here, and we've got 1 and 5 as the only choices here. So how can we have a combination of these two that's going to end up with 4 in the middle? You know, if we had 3 and 1, combination 15, most you can subtract is 3. It's not going to work, okay? You can struggle with that, but instead, let's go to our quadratic equation. And on the, I don't want to take the time here, but if you read on the website, on the lesson, I've actually got how you came up, or how the mathematicians came up with the quadratic formula. And it's basically from solving this using the completing the square method. But let's review it again. We found out that the answer, really, what's called the quadratic formula, again, is minus b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac, and that's all over 2a. Might seem like a mouthful, but I can guarantee you do enough of these, you're going to remember it. I first learned this over 50 years ago, and I didn't have to go back to the textbook to remember this. It's still ingrained. So you do enough of these, hopefully you'll get that same feeling. Let's substitute in the values now. In this case, b is what? 4. So we have negative 4 plus or minus the square root of b squared is, well, again, b is 4, so b squared is 16, minus 4 times a is 3, c is a negative 5. And that's all over 2 times a is 3, so that would be 6. Okay, let's multiply this out. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 5 is 60. This is a minus times a minus, so that's going to end up as 16 plus 60. So now we'll rewrite this as a negative 4 plus or minus square root of 16 and 60 is 76, all over 6. Is that our answers? You notice we've got two answers because this is plus and minus. We've got to try and simplify it. What can we do to simplify it? Is 76 a perfect square? No. But is there any perfect squares in there? And the first thing I do is I start with the smallest one and I say, well, it's an even number, maybe 4 will go in there. 4 goes into 7 once, 4, 3, 36. Yes, it goes in there evenly. It's 4 times 19. So if I write this 76 as 4 times 19, then I can bring the 4 out, can't I? So this then becomes negative 4 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 19 over 6. Is that as simple as we can get it? No, I see these even numbers here, and I realize I can divide numerator and denominator by 2. I do that, and I now get -2 plus or minus square root of 16, I'm sorry, 19, all over 3. And that is our two answers, because again, it's -2 plus the square root of 19 and -2 minus the square root of 19. So again, if you have a problem that can't be factored, use the quadratic equation. And if you don't know the quadratic equation, learn it, and maybe the teacher will give it to you on, I know sometimes they give formulas with that. That's something new. When I was your age, unfortunately, we had to memorize them. But either way, know that that's a very, very valuable formula. And if you get stuck and can't factor, use the formula. Thank you.